What?
I'm back here dancing.
People, I'm every time. I can't stop doing it.
What's up, man?
Not too much now. It's been a busy week getting ready for Daytona tomorrow. Flying out to Daytona tomorrow. So been buttoning some stuff up. Clutch 2 is fully out now and got some good looking animals in there. So, and got my another clutch started to eat too. So it's been a good week. Been stupid busy, but it's been a good week.
Yeah, I hadn't been too busy this week. It's been just kind of some downtime for me, just with everything going on, and also getting ready to go to Florida Friday. So yeah, it's been trying to get things ready a little at a time, just taking it easy, and that's about it.
Yeah, got everything packed up. Had to tell mom and my brother what 20 tubs to check for eggs this week while we're gone, and get egg boxes set up, get rats all done up for the next 2 days before I got someone coming to do them again. Girlfriend just got here 20 minutes ago because she's flying out with us in the morning to Daytona. So it's been
I finally get to meet her.
Yep.
That's cool.
I was making fun. You know, she doesn't have to hang out with one weird snake dude. She has to hang out with hundreds or thousands of them. So,
we'll break her in right.
Yeah, it'll be an experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
what's up, RO? How's it going? Yeah, I think you still have an echo, Tyler. What's up, James? Miss Jamie, she's working our backstage. Thank you, Jamie. We appreciate you. Hey, Alex, how's it going? Jess, right? Isn't that Jess? Now, you've muted yourself, Tyler. I can't hear you at all.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's Jess. Yeah.
What happened?
Then we got who's next. Steven's next. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because my StreamYard's freezing up for some reason.
Mine did for a minute there too, so hopefully we have no more technical difficulties.
Right. Hey, Trevor. Dr. Joe, how's it going? Mr. Sammy.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's it.
Next Wednesday, we'll be on here.
Yep.
Be talking about, we're just having an episode with him and I talking about Florida and everything that's going on in our life. So
Daytona recap. That'll be fun.
Daytona, yeah. Did you see the thumbnail for Daytona yet?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll have to go under the video description on my YouTube page and read what I put on there. You'll get a little crack up out of it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out our wonderful, beautiful guests. Tara, how's it going?
What's going on, Tara?
It's going good.
So glad to finally get you on the show.
I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes. Looks like you got a few snake babies behind you there.
Yeah, we're at 100 exactly.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Number.
Yep.
We went from 2 years ago and stocked up all last year, and now we're at 100 as of 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So we went from 0 to 100, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of like, I think we're around 87 right now, but we still have a clutch in the deal. And it's just like, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm trying to slow it down. I'm trying to get rid of some stuff I don't want to breed anymore. So
I always struggle when people ask me like, how many snakes do you have? And I'm like, I got like 250 to 300, but like 4 months from now, I'll have like 200 babies out. So it'll change.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, right.
Sell most of them and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't ever have a very consistent number.
So Jess asked Thursday if we want to get on with him on his podcast.
Yeah. Shoot me and Nolly a DM and we'll get with you. Definitely.
Yep. All right. Well, Tara has brought somebody along with her. Share it.
Yeah. So I asked a friend of mine if he would mind joining me on this podcast. He's very near and dear to my heart, Mr. Tom Barnhart.
There he is.
Here we go.
Hey, y'all.
He's like, hey, y'all. How's it going, Tom?
Good. How are you guys?
We're
Pretty
ex-
good.
We're both kind of like, oh, it's Tom Barnhart.
Uh, I've just been doing it a long time. That's it. Everyone gets, I feel after so long, it's just, I don't know, it's second nature. You don't think about it anymore, but like I like that I have like info and knowledge to like pass. Like when I talk to Tara a lot, like she said, she's somewhat new. It's fun to kind of put your brain back in that mindset that you had 20 years ago. Like, what do you do with now more options today, but like how do you start? What do you do? What projects do you pick? And like I said, when I was doing it, it was easier. There was less to choose from. So it wasn't as mind like numbing as it is now, but it's crazy now. And I try to tell people like, here's what I would do. It's not the winning formula, but like this is my formula for what I think would be a good start and a good path forward in today's like ball python, because I'm mainly a ball python breeder or only. And it's always fun to try to put yourself like you have nothing, you're starting over. Where would you get in and what would you kind of focus on? So that's kind of cool. I like trying to figure out where the market's going, but you really can't. So
Yeah, after all these years, but like with you, you can still see it's just all over the place,
Yeah, you got to get lucky. Like I got lucky, but like I can't tell anyone to do what I did because I really got lucky. Like I was like one of the guys that like when you think of like new genes, you think of like Orange Dream and you think of Oz, and like E&G is a big importer breeder here in Virginia, which is just south of me, and he brought in all kinds of stuff. Like so, it's like if you can get something new and prove it and work it, that's great. But it's not a good formula to tell someone new getting in because it's kind of like finding that needle in the haystack. So it's kind
right?
of
Hey, Bear, how's it going? So, Tara, you're Tara's mentor, basically.
yeah. We live in the same towns side by side, and we kind of met at a rat pickup years ago, and then she started. I usually don't like to, I kind of like to stay incognito, I guess. Like, and the guy selling the rats said who I was, and a few people like recognized my name, and then Tara and her husband Scott did, and from then they had questions and what do you have and what's available, and it's it was nice because I had someone like I said local that was interested, and I could be like, okay, this is a good project and I have these babies, and it's always like I said, it's always good to kind of like see someone get started. And we see each other, I don't know, every few months, or at least at the local shows too. There's a Gettysburg, PA show that I'll go to. I don't do shows anymore, but I like to walk around and kind of talk to the vendors that are set up there. There's a couple names that are I like to touch base with and kind of see what their take on like the market is and what projects they like and what they're into. And we all kind of similarly are thinking the same thing, but it's good for me because you get that validation and bounce some ideas off people, just kind of see how the market is.
Absolutely. And I like even going, I have a very small group of people that I talk to, or friends with in the reptile industry.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep that circle tight. But I love going backstage on here and talking genetics, looking on morph market, researching. And that to me is like a really good day to be able to do that. So,
Yeah.
But
find myself on morph market all the time, and it's I'm watching these like these podcasts and stuff is really, I still find a lot of value in them, even though it's because you find projects that you didn't think about and you're like, that's perfect for what I have, or like I need one more gene to kind of like bring these together and this group together, and then you're hitting on some really unique new stuff, and you kind of always want to be at the beginning of a curve or the wave. and you also want to be unique. That's the key that I would tell anyone in this industry when you're getting in. Don't think like you need to do quad recessives, which is, it was great if you hit it, but like that's a lifetime of breeding unless you pay big for it. But just what are people doing that you can take a little bit of inspiration from, but make it your own, put your own twist on it, and then kind of be at the front, maybe not the first, but the front of the pack of like breeders that are doing that project. And because you need some sort of barrier to entry a little bit, I think, to differentiate yourself. So like if you do something, can somebody do it immediately the next day? If they can, that's fine, but it's always nice to have a year or so of people catching up to you. And that's hard to do because you got to predict where the market's going, if they like the project you're doing. But I watch guys like Chris Hernan has been on a couple podcasts recently. He's out of Michigan. He's the guy that did the El Diablo, which is like super orange dream, black myline, black pastel, yellow belly, calico. And that kind of stuff really excites me because I sold him that project 5 years ago, not realizing what you could do with it. I didn't see the potential. I sold him a 4-gene animal, a yellow belly, myline black pastel, yellow belly is kind of like that's the main base of most things I do. Then it had one copy of Orange Dream and Calico. Really pretty male. But I told him, I was like, I don't need a male. I wanted a female. Here you go. Sold it cheap. And he's taken that and just gone crazy with it. Plus, he also refines his genetics really well in terms of like, he takes the best example of like the Orange Dream, and now he has like a high. He's working with the high OD line and the deep orange line, and he really makes some crazy looking animals. Like on his Instagram, I see his stuff, and I stop. And when that happens, you know that's a good project. No recessives really. He's working with some stuff, but really because he's gotten some heck clown stuff from me, but he's still concentrating just on 4 or 5 codoms, and that's it. And they're good money and they're fantastic looking snakes. So don't get fooled into thinking you only have to do recessives, because it's a good way to kind of buffer that price drop that we see all the time. But like, I mean, it's still nice to get those codoms in there, and don't forget about some of the codoms. You know, everyone or incomplete dominant, whatever it is that adds that immediate look. You know, don't sleep on those.
Jess asked you what your thought on the market was today versus 10 or even 15 years ago.
That's funny because it's similar to what it was for me. I don't know. I guess like 10 years ago, it wasn't easy, but things moved. And we're kind of seeing that now. And I've heard some other people say this, the last 4 months, if you look at my morph market, I have one snake. It's a hypopide male breeder that I'm replacing with a yellow belly version. And I've sold not like, I don't sell volume. I sell like a small amount each year, but like I do well because my overhead's low and my prices, they're medium. They're not super high. They're not super low. The low stuff I usually will sell locally or wholesale, but I try to get a nice range of anywhere from like 500 to like 2,000 on Morph Market, something in that range. And that stuff sells really well for me. Every once in a while, I'll put some good, you know, some better stuff at over 2,000 and 3,000 range up there, and it sells. It's a little bit. Here's the difference now between now and then. I'm seeing more price fluctuations. So you have to watch, because what I put up sometimes, I'm like, my brain is in like 2022 mode, or 2022 mode, and I'm like, oh, that's a $3,000 snake, and then I start looking at comps, and it's weird because the comps that I'm looking at are black pastel, blah blah blah, because that's usually what I'm making. And now it's a little bit of a wrinkle, and it's different now because with my line being a little visually different, like I can pick them out if you just put a plain black pastels in front of me. But now that they're genetically different, it makes me think how much of a premium, because I always kept a little premium on mine, maybe 25% above what the other guys were doing. And it's also, do you like orange or more orange or less orange? And if you're going with the more orange path, and that's how I'm pushing mine. Like it helps. So the visual and the genetic now being different, I'm kind of like, well, it's not just me saying that it looks better, because maybe sometimes you get in those animals that just look better because the way they were founded and originally bred into better looking snakes, versus the other guys were breeding them into lesser desirable stuff. And over time, they all kind of probably work their way into the same looking snake. But it's kind of cool, the genetic part of it now. And then that's giving me that unique twist that if I was to tell like Tara, like do this, go find a snake in the wild or like a captive hatch and prove it out and make sure it's different looking and different genetically. It's an impossible task, but people can still find those. I mean, we see them all the time, but it's all the thousands of snakes and thousands of people. It's just kind of like you get lucky, I think. And back in the day, there was more of that. It was easier for me to get imports back in the day than it is now. I think now it's more like you get a morph market and they're all captive bred. I also kind of really I don't see Ian that much anymore. I was more close with Oz back then when we had more time and we were younger, no kids, and we would go on like trips to Ian's house down in Fairfax, Virginia, and we do shows together, and that's kind of how I got a lot of my in back in the day of getting some of the crazier stuff. And some stuff just didn't prove out. You get cool looking stuff, and 9 times out of 10, you strike out. There's nothing there, or if it is, it's very subtle, or it hasn't been worked enough. Like the Orange Dream. When I saw that, I was there when Oz got it. I came over like the next day and looked at it, and he was showing it to me all proud, and I was like, yeah, it was in the age of just seeing a ridiculous amount of snakes that were supposedly yellow bellies because they had a white belly. When people were trying to figure out what a yellow belly was, because that was all. It was crazy back then because everybody wanted their own unique like import morph that was the next this and that. And when he showed me that Orange Dream, it took years though for it to actually do anything. And now with the yellow, he put it with yellow belly and spider, and he even says that today. Like those are the two combos that you really saw the difference. And then I want to say it took him 6 years probably to find it to hit the super. And he was breeding it like every year once he had a female up to size. Well, I think the first one was a female, but like once he had a pair to put together, he must have done it 3-4 years before he hit the super. It was one of those deals where he was kind of just giving up on it.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting how that happens. But yeah, it's good now for me, and I've heard from other people that things are moving. It's just a price changes. I did not have to negotiate, and I did not have to be patient with customers as I do now. Not that I was never not patient or like I always give them time and everything. But before it's like people were fighting. The hardest part was when I put an ad up, I'd have 3-4 emails or messages back within a couple of hours. And for me, I'm not a business. I have work and a life and kids, and I'm like, oh my God. Then I have to go through and see timestamps. Like, okay, let me respond to this guy. But I don't want to lose sale 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4 either. I kind of want to keep them warm on the burner because I'm like, if the person one doesn't pull the trigger, I got to give. It was getting weird for me because I'm like, okay, you got how much time do I give person one to get back to me after they inquired? Is 12 hours enough? Is it a full day? But then you got to tell the other guys, hold on, I'm working with someone on it, but if it falls through, and it was a lot of that. There were wait lists. I did get a wait list today, so interestingly enough, it's usually the wait list stuff now I get is for like a plain black pastel with nothing else in it, and I'm like, that's really hard for me to make now. Because it's like I can make it, but it doesn't benefit me because I'm looking at it in terms of like, so I always want to keep adding and improving and doing new things and value too. You want to, so sometimes I'm like, well, it's a het pied and het hypo, and I'll give you a good deal on it, depending if you really want it. And if they're really pestering me for it, I'll cut some deals for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's like an ingredient, a really good ingredient, a high quality ingredient they're needing for their project they're wanting to work.
And it's funny too, because I'll give people the same price like a black pastel het pied female or male. I don't need that. That's just a snake. I mean, I would never use that. And I'm like, I have this, and they're like, I don't want het pied. I'm like, well, I'm kind of giving it to you for just the regular price, and they'll pass the sale. And I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, you don't have to put it on a pied or a het pied. It's your choice. It's a bonus. It doesn't affect the look. I mean, sometimes het pied messes a little bit, but it's usually cool. But I'm like, I'm not sure where your head is, but you're, yeah, that's kind of a weird thing that's happened to me a few times here in the last few years. But it's a new person. I think they really want to get bare bones, bare minimum, like genetics for cheap. I'm like, it's pretty cheap what you're getting based. I mean, go Go try to find it somewhere, and this is probably your only chance. And then they lose it, and the year goes by, and they'll come back to me again the next year. I'm like, it's kind of the same situation this year, but even worse because I'm having less of those. So it's
Yeah,
it's
Mr.
interesting.
Mr. Hot Pockets here. He said, I didn't know the Black Pastel King was here. I wouldn't have been late. Will, you're always late, sir.
Oh yeah, I took my glasses off because there was a big glare because of my computer screen. So I'm usually leaning in.
Same here. Hey, Carissa. Chris, what's up? Oh, sorry. Trying to do these real quick. Hey, Elias and Patrick. Did I get everybody? Okay.
So.
Okay, we'll get back on subject. So, Tara, how many Tom Barnhart snakes do you own?
Are we just counting Black Pastel, or are we counting everything
No.
I have gotten from Tom?
Anything.
Everything from Tom.
Let's see.
She needs more.
I do need more.
I need my first one.
That's how bad this is. I have to count.
I'm late,
got
very
100.
late this year too. So everything will be October, November for me pretty much, which is fine. But
Yeah.
the problem is shipping. I hate shipping in the winter. I'm pretty good at it. I've been doing it for years, but it's just, ideally right now is perfect,
Mm-hmm.
get them out. Don't have
I'm
it.
feeling the same way. I got the second clutch out, and I got like 25 more to go. So
Yep.
Yeah.
It's January shipments every year because December comes and you're shut down for the holidays, and then it's the coldest time of the year. So
yeah.
Right now, I don't want to ship out because it's like this week, I think our high is around 107.
Oh, you're in Texas,
Oh,
right?
God.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So,
Tara,
sorry,
what
Tara.
was the number?
Oh, you're good. 10 or 11.
Very nice.
10%.
There you go.
I still need more. We still need to talk about that pied/het pied girl that I'm gonna need for that one project I'm working. And
I didn't do a lot of pieds this year, but I have a couple cool ones. So definitely should have some on the ground. I kind of scaled back a little bit with the pied stuff because it's an okay combo for me with the black pastel, but the problem is I stack a bunch of genes in it and it's hard to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Oh, are you showing us something, Tara? Thanks, she's
I love
showing us.
how Tara went, that pied or het pied for that one thing that I have. She needs to be very secretive of everything that she has and that Tom has.
That's the thing. She's trying to keep that barrier. Like she doesn't want people chasing her projects.
Yep.
So I got this guy from Tom at the beginning of last year. He was teeny tiny. And now he is huge.
Is he head for something? He's head for something, right?
He is 100% het clown, and he's a female maker.
I forget all the stuff that people buy, and I mean I recognize that the look, but everyone will send me something about their snake, and I have to go through my files. I'm like, I don't even know what I sold this person.
Yeah.
And he
is
actually my favorite boy from Tom.
Oh, very nice.
His colors are staying pretty good. It's got nice orange.
They are. I mean, they are just staying amazing.
There you go.
And what was that again? A black pastel banana?
Yes.
Okay.
He is a Barnhart black pastel banana, and then he is 100% het clown. He has is it yellow belly or spot nose? Nice. Yellow belly.
Yeah, I like with the banana stuff. I don't do as much of it anymore, but I like putting dark. I like the contrast, the leopard. My black pastel adds some darkness and stuff like that. I think Confusion is good with that because it adds that bright orange and that the purples come out with it. So I'm always a big fan of adding dark to banana if that's my project.
And
I'm still looking for. Yeah, you can tell he's
Tom, you just gave me an idea.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I hope to be next in Tom's waiting list line. So you just got to hold your horses, Tyler.
Yeah, I think I only have about 16 or 17 clutches this year, which isn't bad. That's good for me. That's probably going to be 80, 90 babies, which is perfect. I just have to keep adding more value and better babies, and I think I have so far. So far, I have 3 clutches. One's pipping now, and of the 3, I'm pretty. I mean, other than the fact that I have 6 ivories, I'm happy with the results because those ivories, like I keep looking at them, I'm like, there's 2 of them that just have they're pure white, and that's usually a good sign. Um, Unfortunately, between Gray Rider and RGI, I'm going to have to use both for to get everything tested because
Mhm.
RGI doesn't have spot nose, and I was just checking it before this video, and still not on there. They have everything but that, and then Gray Rider has spot nose, so I'm going to have to I'm going to have to pay more for it because I can't bundle anything. You
Yeah.
know, if you do
Yeah, but
one
Charlie doesn't have
gene.
red stripe.
Yeah, and he doesn't have red stripe, so yep. So we kind of need to get.
I'm
Hey,
the same way
Char-
with the other I got. It's like, what'd you say?
I was saying that I was looking for my banner, but I don't know. StreamYard's kind of messing me up right now. Y'all go ahead. Let me figure this out. All right, there we go. Sorry, technical difficulties, But yeah, Charlie, he's a show sponsor, and you can use Texoma 15 to get 15% off of some shed testing too.
Yep. I just sent him
That's
some bunch of black pastel sheds 2 weeks ago. I was actually messaging with him today because he's, I could send some more his way just to kind of help out because getting those tests for my line is nice. I mean, that definitely is. It's easy. It's good for me. Like I need to test stuff for myself before I let it go because the last thing I don't want to let stuff go for nothing, and it's I can tell my line of black pastel except for when you get it into like an ivory with clown. That's the problem. If the clown wasn't there, I think I could see it, but the clown usually creates a pretty clean looking ivory too. So it's throwing me off a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Tara,
So
you want to
you're-
run us through like some of your main projects you're working right now?
So obviously a lot of Barnhart black pastel.
Okay.
We also have cryptic,
So?
we have clown, we have hypo. I'm a big fan of hypo. We have some DG, a little bit of exanthic. My husband works with pied. Sorry about that. I don't like pied personally, so that's kind of his thing.
Same here.
Sorry, Tyler.
Same here. Same thing.
I'm just not really a huge fan. I did pick up a male that is het pied. He has some other special genes in him that we are going to see if we can prove out. But so I'll be hitting up Tom for a pied girl. But other than that, pied is my husband's thing. Last year, Holdback Rack did a US Arc Florida kind of like raffle and show. And I won a snake from BC's Balls. And I texted my husband and said, "Hey, hun, I want a snake. You have to pick out a snake." Because he unfortunately didn't have anything I was interested in, but he had a lot of pied stuff that my husband needed. So my husband picked out Nemo, is who he is. He is an Orange Dream vanilla pied. He is gorgeous. Unfortunately, at the moment, he's in shed.
Yeah.
But so, and that kind of got him going through the pied track. And then I was like, you need a backup male because there's no guarantee that he's going to actually go. So the backup male we chose, I'll grab him real quick because he is a Barnhart.
I don't remember this. I like the Orange Dream. Yeah. Orange Dream stuff in pied is nice.
Yeah.
And I like the hypo and the DG with that. And I mean, there's a lot of options you can do with the Orange Dream.
So this is Spartan. He is a Barnhart black pastel banana spider, 100% het pied. And he is also a female maker. But he has kept this interesting, like, let's see if I can.
That's a spider?
Yep, this is a spider.
You didn't get that from me, right?
Nope, we actually got this from Mike and Tyler from Mountain State Feeder Breeders.
Okay.
What's up, Stan?
But it's hard to really get a good angle on his look.
Almost calico.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
calico.
He does.
Yeah.
But
Spider
he
kind
has,
of does that.
he has like the whites, and then he's got these yellows, but in the yellows, he has these outlines of peach, which are really, really pretty. Apparently, it's not picking it up on the camera as well as I'd like it to, but
Now that's a
Right.
het pied, you said?
yes, he is het pied.
Now with the spider and the pieds, you know what they look like, right? Very high white.
No, I was going to say, pied's
Pure
not
white
my
except
thing,
for the head.
so.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, Brandon. Oh, I need to play the sponsor video real quick, y'all, and we'll be right back. My Oklahoma people, don't forget to hit up John for your Reptile. I got to get some commercials made, y'all, so bad.
So, Tom, you saved me a bit this year with the Clutch one. My about 3 weeks before they hatched, we went into Mold City, and I thought I was going to lose them, and I was freaking out, losing my mind. I messaged Tom. I said, Tom, I said, they're molding. It looks bad. Should I cut them early? And he said, no, just let them go and see, you know, how they do. Don't bother them. Don't cut them early. And now they are hatched.
Ooh.
Oh.
And they have shed. This way.
What do we got?
That's pretty.
There's this one. We only had 4.
So what was the parent on them?
So this is actually one of our dinker projects.
Okay.
And it is a yellow belly venom, which is the dinker gene we're working. And she was paired to a pastel leopard banana. I love my banana. But
So it looks like there's like there's no Mojave or lesser or anything in there. Or did you say that?
yeah, it's a butter venom.
Okay.
Yeah, butter venom dinker.
Okay.
Let go of your shed. They actually just shed today. I was like, yay, just in time for the podcast.
Yeah, they were close to being the hatch date. So I was like, at this point, it's not worth cutting them early. I mean, just wait. And I kind of was trying to determine what temp you had them at and you know, just let them go a little bit. Because if eggs get moldy, like I have a clutch right now, right out of the gate, one was just an infertile egg. It molded, but the mold typically stays to the bad on the bad egg. And don't try to pull it apart. Don't just let it in there, and the good eggs will stay good. Now, if you see eggs going bad, they turn like green and start sweating and smell. They were bad from the get-go. There's nothing you could have done for the most part, unless you had like an issue with your incubator. But I used to beat myself up over that years ago. Like, why did these eggs go bad? And typically it was like just the male or the heat was too high. So it's something you learned over time. Just kind of let it go. And the worst thing you could do is start tinkering with them like early in the egg development process. You're probably going to screw it up.
Right.
Those
Will
look
had a
really-
question for you.
Yes, it is the venom from Canyon.
Tara, did that last one have a ringer on it, or was that just the way that the
Yes.
camera was picking it up?
Nope, that is an actual, honest to goodness ringer. And
That's what I
thought
was
it was-
thinking.
Yeah, I thought it was just the weirdest thing.
Oh yeah, it looks like a lighting thing, but it's not. There you go.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't tell. Huh.
So there's
Yeah,
nothing
I'm
head in
trying
there.
to get it to where the lighting isn't as ridiculous, but my lighting here is kind of weird.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's a full blown ringer.
What's up, Josh? Sorry, do y'all doing any projects together yet?
Not yet. He would like to get into acid, and he has confusion. So I have some acid stuff going on over here. I'd say I think she should be due around November. I have a girl that is going to.
Nice.
She is Banana Barnhart Black Pastel Yellow Belly, 100% het clown, and I bred her to an acid clown. So I'm hoping to have Barnhart Black Pastel Yellow Belly, Banana Acid Clowns, and maybe just non-banana.
Yeah, that'll be nice. I did the non-banana, same thing, black pastel, yellow belly confusions last year, clowns. And the cool thing with that is first year of doing confusion ever, and it was a het clown to a bunch of clown females. And the demand was really well for that, I thought. I was surprised. I wasn't sure because I was a little late to the game, a couple years late, and the prices were coming down. But in those combos with the clowns and the black pastel and yellow belly, they were still going for good money, and they sold quick. So I'd like to see now. Acid and confusion were proven to be different genetically, right? Am I right?
Yeah, it was. I think it was weird. They said they were the same, and then like a month and a half later, I think they came out like, "Whoops, sorry, they're different."
Yeah, because I kind of always thought they look similar, but there's something that I can't put my finger on what it is that's different. And then I was like, it's just kind of like the way they were bred. Like I was saying earlier, they kind of bred it to like busier females or whatnot, and it's kind of stuck. But I don't know. I'd like to see more side by side with the two because I do feel they look different. But it's also the quality that you put them into. I think you can kind of get good stuff with either.
Yeah, I think the more like we get into breeding and adding multi-codom and multi-recessive stuff, it's hard to find like you were saying earlier. I want to see just a straight Barnhart black pastel next to a black pastel, or straight confusion next to an acid. Because if you hit those are getting wholesaled, or you just have no chance of hitting those. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
and you want to see like 10 of these and 10 of these, because then you can start to see the patterns. Because one and one, and sometimes you're like you're cherry picking the best of this and the worst of that. But if you start putting out volumes and you start picking it up, I think that's where it'll be valuable.
Yeah, and it's hard to pick scale by scale because you can get 5 Barnhart black pastels that look.
Yeah, and I still
different,
get confused with some of the stuff that I produce, because when you get over 4 genes, like incomplete dominant type stuff, or even 4 sometimes, you think you're seeing a subtle gene. I'm still really trying to pick up what does red stripe do in certain combinations, because I just started working with it. I slept on it for years, and it's subtle. But sometimes it really pops, and other times it's in there and you can't even tell. Same with orange dream when you pair it with pastel and stuff like that, which back in the day really confused me because it was a really nice pastel or a really so-so orange dream pastel. It's
Right.
a lot of stuff like that.
That's the good thing about testing nowadays is
Yes.
overall most of that stuff you can kind of figure out. But I think RGI and Charlie need to get all the tests so we can just figure everything out.
I guess competitively though, for their business, it's good that like RGI has the red stripe and Charlie has the spot nose. Just for that one particular project, you got to go to both, especially if you have something like me with indistinguishable markings. I mean, it's
right.
I texted Charlie last week about a clutch we just had, and I was like, I need 3 genes tested on 3 different animals. He was like, I can only test one of them. And I looked at RGI and they can test 2 of them, but one of the genes neither of them has. I'm like, God damn it.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where to go. So
It's nice because you can decide immediately on that test result. Do I keep
Mhm.
it? Do I sell it? And then I can sell it accurately rather than pos this, pos that. Because sometimes pos, I usually when I pos head something back in the day, I wouldn't really put a premium or a charge on it at all. It would just kind of be an added bonus to say the mother was a het or the father was a het, and here you go. Now it's like you can at least say it's a het, so add this value. Whereas before I was giving it away for free with just like this will help sell it because it's a pos.
Mhm.
I don't know, Tara, or Tom, or anyone else in the comments if they've seen the same thing that I have with the pos hets. Where I feel like recently, mainly since over the past year, when RGI and Charlie have been running up like crazy, that pos hets are kind of detracting. They might not be detracting value, but they're detracting demand. Like it, pos hets are scaring people more. Like even myself, like if there's an animal that's listed as a pos het, when you could test it and it adds,
Yeah,
1,500
it's
it
that's
deters me on taking that risk nowadays. Whereas 4 years ago, I would
Yeah.
have
oh
bought
yeah,
that
definitely.
pos,
I'm the same
you know.
mindset too. And the problem is I'm in that exact same mindset that you just said, but I can find myself doing it because I don't want to like it say it has everything that I want it to have. And I'm like, here's the snake. Then I throw the pos head out there and it kind of just it's not a I don't know that it's not a good look because you can't test every gene of every snake, especially when you're dealing with
Right, right.
heads. But I don't know if the expectation is that you do. And I'm like, I'm not making that much money that I want to
Oh,
just
no.
test everything because it then starts to add up and cut into your profits. And it's like, is it worth it if it's a pos het, like a gene that for that particular snake doesn't matter? Because a
Yeah.
lot of times clown pied stuff is cool. I'm not a huge fan because it's kind of they kind of fight with each other a little bit. Like a
Mhm.
clown pied to me is an okay animal. It's genetically powerful, but
Yeah.
visually it's not as good as a hypopide to me. So I have a lot of 50% het clown, double het hypopide stuff in
Yeah.
my collection. I finally just started getting it tested to see whether or not I want to get rid of it or not. But like you said, I'm a little leery. I have a female right now that's a 50% het clown, 100% hypopide that I'd throw it up online, to get rid of it. But one, maybe I'd keep it for down the road, something will hit. Or two, I just don't want to put it as a pos het, like you said, because the expectation is someone looks at me and they're like, he should know if it's a het or not. And I'm like,
Right.
it's a lot of snakes you got to do that to, and then it starts to add up.
Yeah, no, my big problem, it's not even a problem. It's breeder to breeder, right? Like I agree on the if it's double het and pos het clown, and if the het is going to add anything, it's marginal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't find the value in it. The biggest one that upset me, especially because it did prove, is I got offered. It was a leopard monarch that was pos het clown. And I was like, "Oh, nice! I would buy it if it was het." And I got
Yeah.
offered it 3, 4, 5 times, and I was like, "Nope. If you test it and it proves, I'll buy it. Like, there's no problem. I
Yeah.
know you're adding money there, but." And then he tested it, it proved, and he kept it. I was like, "Damn it!"
Yeah, and it kind of it's reminiscent of back in the day when people would sell not that they're fake hets, but like you can if you're going to put pos het and it's a high value animal, you should get it
Yeah,
tested for the benefit of the customer.
right.
Maybe it just depends, or you just put here's the pairing because sometimes I'll have the pairing. I just don't put pos het. I just kind of let you figure it
Yeah.
out. Like if you want to look and see that it was a het
Mhm.
hypo in the pairing. I won't put pos het and I'll sell it for what it is. And then you can see, I always put in my description what the parents were just so the customer knows. And I find a lot of people don't do that. I'll buy stuff like, for example, I bought that one snake I was saying to you guys in the back room before the podcast that it was yellow belly. And I just thought it was the most exceptional red striped spot nose clown I've ever seen. The reason it was is because the yellow belly was really playing hard into the pattern and color. So I waited and waited for the right one. I was like, oh, this is the one. But it wasn't advertised as yellow belly and the pairing wasn't in the description. So to
Right.
my fault, I should have asked that when I was in the purchasing process. Not that it's a bad thing because now I have a boatload. I have these 6 snakes back here that I'm probably going to get more, unfortunately. But now they could be ivory clowns. So there's 2 of the 5 genes of Pompeii done. That's a given. And then all you have to hit on is like red stripe, black pastel, and spot nose down the road. And I still want to make that. That's why I keep talking about it because I want to see if my my black pastel does anything to the look at all. And it might be too many genes in the mix at that point to notice. It could very well be just it is what it is. But I just want to see if it's more orange or the patterns a little bit like wonkier. If not, I still will take any Pompeii. But it'll be cool to see kind of if there's any subtleties. But
Mhm.
it's kind of a one and done thing. I don't think I want to make it like a cornerstone for me because it's hard to hit. But if I can produce a bunch of stuff that kind of gets me close, then I'll try to make them from year to year.
Yeah.
That clutch has not hatched yet. It is due, oh God, next Friday, I think. So we'll see which male got it. I don't care which male got it. I'm excited for each or either of them, but that's a huge surprise because I bought that girl pregnant from someone and she was paired to 2 different males and shipped her in. She ovulated the week after I got her. So I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, Cypress is nice too.
So I'm excited to see what I get out of that clutch. Alex, no test for KRG, and I will bring a couple shirts to Daytona. I answered all the questions now.
there you go. You'll have to send him your shirt size so he doesn't have to guess.
Yeah, send me a couple shirt sizes. I'll probably pack up 5 or 6 shirts of different different sizes.
Yeah.
Do
Right.
you guys go to Daytona routinely?
This is my first time.
My first time going
I've never
to.
been down there. I just don't. I mean, I'm in Maryland. It's kind of far, and I take so many vacations in August. It's hard for me to squeeze this weekend in. But it's always open, and it would be a nice trip. But one of these years, I want to get down there. I've done Tinley a few times. That's nice because just a big show. But I've always wanted to do Daytona, so one of these years.
Yeah. Tinley
That was-
was nice, but I think I liked the California show a lot better,
Oh yeah.
the Super Show. But then this will be my first Florida, so Daytona. So
I forget who was telling me like who made this like joke or Daytona is a fun and good show, but unlike Tinley, you're not shoulder to shoulder just smelling everyone when you're there. So I was like, okay, like, that might be high quality good animals, but you're not mosh pit like Tinley is.
yeah. That was a very crowded show, and I did not like the NARBC show in Dallas this year either. It was terrible.
Yeah, I think I heard that as well. Because they changed it, right, from Arlington?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the place like Dallas County won't allow big snakes. And at the auction, and at the auction there couldn't be any snakes. And so it was weird.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I didn't even go to that auction. That was the first auction I missed, and I was like, "There's no animals." I'm just
Yeah.
Tara, do you have any big plans now that you're breeding, you're hatching eggs? What are you going to do? Make holdbacks? Or are you going to what's your plans now that you're hatching stuff? Are you going to sell them online, do some shows, or are you just kind of making stuff to hold back to make you more powerful in the years to come? Do you have a plan for a couple years out, or you just kind of, because I know when I did it, I just jumped in and wanted to hatch snakes. Then you kind of start figuring stuff out as you go. But that first year or two, you just want to kind of prove to yourself that you can do everything through the incubation and all that. But what are you thinking?
So I do have a 5-year plan.
yes.
What we talked about earlier with the female that I have from Tom and then the acid, I have other genes I want to add into it, like DG, and I want to try an exanthic form. And so I do have plans. A lot of what we are breeding currently, we do still have a lot of young snakes. We probably only have about 20 that are actually of breeding size and ready to breed. And we have paired them, but everything else we have to wait for it to grow up. So everything that I'm working for right now is absolutely hold back, see what I can, keep going to grow 5 years from now, 10 years from now, heck, 20 years from now. You've always got to be thinking about that.
And things move fast now.
And I do have a dream to vend. my dream is actually to vend Gettysburg. As far as vending, Tinley just seems like way too many people for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, here
So,
it's hard to
It
get
is
in there
hard.
now too.
but Gettysburg it's a reasonable dream. It's a reachable goal, and that is, that's my big thing. I would love to vend. I have helped vend with a few friends, and talking to the kids and talking to the moms who are initially like, oh, and then you talk to them and they're like, oh, I didn't know that. I love educating. I love getting to actually, I like kids. So I like interacting with the kids and actually talking to them about this snake and that snake and why this snake is that color. And we have a park not far from us, and I walk down there with the snakes every summer and spring, and the kids just flock to me, and I'll sit for an hour easy talking to them and their parents about the snakes and how friendly they are. And so it's a lot of fun. So I do want to do the holdback and progress my own projects, but I do want to vend. If
Yeah.
I have a morph market, and if we do have things, that aren't moving at the show, maybe they're a little too expensive, I would put those on morph market. But mainly I'm breeding for myself.
Yeah.
The vending thing is the secondary dream. The breeding, to actually take the morphs further than where they currently are, is my main goal. We're also planning on doing a lot of line breeding. We've handpicked, and one of the reasons we have a lot of Tom's stuff is we've handpicked what we like the look of, and we are going to selectively breed each thing. If the babies come out, the ones that look the best are the ones I'm going to hold back. Maybe not necessarily all the powerful genes.
Mhm.
I'm not really, everybody's very about the triple hets and the quad hets. I'm not so much focused on that. Is I want the quality of the animal to show through.
Yep.
Genes be damned. I want to look at an animal and say, this animal is perfection for what it is,
Mhm.
not what all it has in it.
Right.
So that's kind of my thing. I would like to keep the quality of the animals. I see a lot of animals at shows and online that are absolutely not very, they just don't look like they should be looking.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a poor quality animal. And I want to keep that quality steady. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of the future, they say the future is these triple hets and these quad hets, but the future is also kids and pet owners. And they don't care that that snake is het for 8 things. They care that it is pretty looking, and that when
Right.
it grows up, it's going to stay pretty looking.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a balance. The breeders are a big part, but the pet people, they start out as pet people, then they come in because of what they see they can make.
That's
So
what happened with me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and me too. I bred crested geckos long before I got into snakes because they were very pretty. And
Right.
I do not breed cresties anymore. That was quite the number of years ago. But seeing the snakes and how beautiful they were, and we started with a boa constrictor. My husband has a 21-year-old boa constrictor, and that's when we met, his snake, and then we moved on to the ball pythons, and it's been like potato chips ever since.
I have a question about you and your husband's stuff. So, do you guys have like separate collections where it's like his stuff is like the pied? I know you said he works like the pied stuff, and you've got all this other stuff. Are they like separate collections? Like those are actually his animals, or are those
Yeah.
just like? So if
Those
he
are-
breeds like his male to one of your females, like it's a split clutch, like 2 separate collections.
Yes, they are 2
Okay.
separate collections. If down the line we do decide, if he ends up having, something that I would like, or I end up having something he would like, then we could do that. Can you guys give me 1 minute? He's going to work, so I have to say goodbye.
Okay. Well, that's what Earl always tells me, LSR. I know you know who that is, Tom. But is work your long game. That's what it's all about.
Mhm.
You breed the stuff, you keep the good stuff, and you work that long game.
And yeah, and that's when I was younger doing this, I would sell the good stuff because it sold faster and it sold quicker and for more. And then you learn over time, you're starting to then saturate your collection with the stuff that wasn't quite that A+ material. And then you're like, well, I don't want to work with that. So then you sell everything, and you kind of I've hit reset a couple of times over the years doing this, but you have to. Like I did it just recently because I'm like volume wise, I want to scale down from like 30 clutches down to like high teens. That's my comfort zone. And eventually you're like, do I even want to work with this gene anymore? And I have a couple back in my room now that I'm like, it's cool, and it was cool 15 years ago, but is it worth it, or is it going to be like another spot nose red stripe, pick a hypo that was been around forever that now is kind of having a resurgence because of a certain project or just like better demand now? Because hypo back in the day was my first recessive. Well, had a head albino and then a visual as a hypo. I thought it was okay. I was like, it's not great, it's okay, but they were selling for like $1,000, for males, and now that I have them and I see what they do with the contrast, going back to what we were saying with the banana stuff, put them in dark jeans, very dark, very hypo. It just makes such a nice looking snake that ages well too. So it's always interesting how what you value it can come back around too. It kind of gets stale for a while, then it has a resurgence. But definitely work with value with quality. Keep the quality, because that's you can, like I said earlier, you can do incomplete dominant stuff so long as it's quality and you keep refining that and you keep keeping the highest color and the sharpest contrast and use that as your stock. Then everything you're producing is pretty much going to keep going down that road of like getting better and better.
Right.
You can't tell I've learned a lot from Tom.
Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, just being around for so long, you just pick up things that you don't even realize you're picking it up, and then like you're doing it without thinking, and then it's like it's nice to kind of get this information to people that like want to hear it, because most people in my life aren't snake people and they don't want to hear this. So when I'm on a podcast like this, it's like I know you guys are on the same page, but it's nice to get out like just some of the little things that like could be common knowledge at this point, but just I'm like, make sure you do this, or try not to do that. Over the years you learn, and sometimes it takes years to figure out like what the heck did I do. And then it's like, oh, I should have cut ties with that long ago and switched into this that I was dragging my feet on for some reason, something or another. I wasn't seeing it, and then all of a sudden someone else takes what you were working on and makes it just insanely perfect, and you're like, that could have been me. Still can be for like I was saying, for that like El Diablo stuff is awesome. But I feel like I've lost a few years on it, and now it's like it's Chris's thing. I mean, he's taken it to a whole new level. But it's still cool because I have some, the ingredients that I can kind of make some, something close to him, but not quite to his level, because he's got that OD game worked out pretty well.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're right at an hour, and I know Tom is a busy man, so we're going to go ahead and call it. Tom, Terry, y'all are welcome back on the show anytime. I've really enjoyed this episode. I mean,
yeah, this is good.
Thank you both.
Lots of great information.
Too quick. I still have a ton of stuff. It depends on what topic you throw out there. Like I have info I want to say, but it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a Saturday show too, so and that's with a bunch of other breeders. And we do like getting guests on there. Like I said, anytime you want to sit down and talk, I'm a sponge. So
yeah, it's been a while, so it was nice to get on one here and kind of just shoot the breeze with other people. So
yes, absolutely. Well, thank you guys again. If you want to wait backstage, we'll wrap it up. Bye, everybody.